Funga binguni. Umefunga mangapi katika hii situation tonka ianze? Umefunga situation hii mara ngapi? Umesimama katika pengo gani? Ni wakati wa kupatikana watumishi wa Mungu, tukiwa katika nyika, tukiwa katika milimani, tukitafuta kufunga situation na hali ngumu ambayo imeweza kukumba hii dunia. Bwana Yesu apewe sifa. Nataka nimalize nao, mpendwa wewe msikilizaji wangu, ya kwamba wakati ambapo jambo linakuchallenge, rudi katika maandiko. Maandiko inasema nini? Inakutabiria nini? Imekutabiria kushindwa? Imekutabiria kushinda? Ni wakati wako na mimi tushinde na sio kushindwa. Tuombe pamoja. Mfalme wa amani, wewe ni Mungu utakayetupa nguvu ya kushinda. Nasi tunafunga nguvu za kiza za upepo wa kuua na magonjwa ambayo inaangamiza katika jina la Yesu, na kwamba kupatikane peace ya anga kwa jina la Yesu. Tuomba tukiamini, amen. Narudia majina yangu tena, ni Askofu Francis Mayabi wa kanisa la Evangelical Gospel Ministry, nikiwa Nairobi, Kibira.
Policy document is evidence of the existence of an insurance contract between you and your insurance company. It is important to know the terms and conditions of your insurance policy. Make sure you obtain, read, and understand the terms and conditions of the policy document. Now you know. IRA, promoting insurance, protecting the insured.
Good afternoon, a very warm welcome to Channel 1 Lunchtime News. It is the 28th day in the month of April 2021. Both the National Assembly and the Senate are today discussing and debating the Constitutional Amendment Bill 2021, the Building Bridges Initiative report. If the bill fails to go through the first and the second reading today, then the debate will be moved to Tuesday next week. We have able teams in both houses and we will be transmitting live to the houses when need arises. My name is Irene Muchuma. Odem on sign language interpretation. We have Lensa Odingo. Do interact with us on our social media platforms at KBC Channel 1 on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. Top story this afternoon. The fate of impeached Wajir County Governor Ambassador Mohamed Abdi Mohamud now lies with the Senate. Governor Ambassador Mohamud was impeached Tuesday after 37 MCAs voted in favor of his ouster, while 10 opposed his removal. 2 were absent. The MCAs cited financial impropriety, abuse of office, gross misconduct, and violation of the Constitution as the grounds for his ejection.
Embattled Wajir County Governor Ambassador Muhammad Abdi Mohamud was last evening impeached despite his attempt to stop the vote through a court order. 37 MCAs voted in favor of his ouster, while 10 opposed his removal. 2 were absent. The MCAs cited financial impropriety, abuse of office, gross misconduct, and violation of the Constitution as grounds for his ejection. The governor's lawyers remained outside County Assembly, with security agencies insisting they were under orders not to open the gates to anyone. Meru presiding judge justice ordered the Assembly to halt the intended process until both parties appear before him on Thursday afternoon. When the Assembly resumed in the afternoon, Speaker Ibrahim Ahmed Yakub ruled that none of the 3 court orders issued could bar the MCAs from playing the role of debating and impeaching the governor. However, the MCAs vowed to go ahead with their motion to impeach the governor despite the court order. The Speaker of Wajir County Assembly, Ibrahim Yakub, is expected to forward deliberations of the Tuesday, April 27th impeachment to Senate Speaker Kenneth Lusaka. Lusaka will, alongside senators, determine whether Mohammed will be subjected to grilling by the plenary or the entire House.
Diabetes patients will now be able to access healthcare at an affordable price following interventions by a Danish firm to supply low-priced insulin to the country. The firm Novo Nordisk, in partnership with the Ministry of Health and Royal Danish Embassy, has today launched an affordable insulin project dubbed iCare as the world marks 100 years of insulin.
The currently launched project targets diabetes patients of low socioeconomic status who usually receive medication from public health and faith-based facilities on a project timeline of 3 years. Dr. Ephantas Mare, head of Division of Non-Communicable Diseases Prevention and Control, says the project aims at reaching over 8,000 patients and 500 healthcare professionals.
This project is particularly looking at people who are not able to access insulin, especially type 1 diabetes patients who are above 23 years, who are not working, and who cannot cannot be able to buy insulin. So this project is going to provide insulin at an affordable cost among that population, and also people over 60 years, and people who come from low socioeconomic areas like the slums and other hard areas to reach. So we are targeting about 8,000 people countrywide with this project. If we get more than that, we'll be happy, but right now we are working about 8,000 people to ensure that they have affordable insulin and they're able to control their...
Vinay Ransiwal of Novo Nordisk says the iCare project is to halt and bend the rising curve of diabetes cases in the country.
And to defeating diabetes, we need to drive change, but that change is not possible by any single player, not by Novo Nordisk, not by... We need to collaborate together. So everyone brings their expertise, okay, their solutions together, those multiply and it becomes multifold. And then if we have the heart in the right place, that we think from the lens of what the people with diabetes needs in terms of support. So this is where the genesis of this program called iCare.
The cost of insulin in the country is unaffordable to many diabetic patients, with now the economic power of many affected by the onset of COVID-19 pandemic. According to health experts, between 347 and 422 million adults are affected by diabetes around the world. In Kenyan adults, the national prevalence of diabetes is projected to rise to 4.4% in 2035. For Channel 1 News, I'm Amboi Otiende.
Now, residents of Water Community, Cliffy County, are optimistic of fast and efficient services at the local land registry after President Uhuru Kenyatta unveiled a digital land information management system aimed at enhancing security of lands records.
67-year-old Barisa Kisa from Shirango Village, Ganze constituency says their long journey to land ownership has been a long struggle that can be traced back to post-independence.
Changamoto tuliyokumbana nayo, tulitolewa huko, tukaambiwa tusiwinde tena na hatukupewa chakula mbadala. Hiyo kwanza ikawa ni changamoto. Tukaletwa huku. Kulima hatujui. Sisi hatulimi. Shamba yetu ni huko porini, matunda ya msituni, asali.
Historical land injustices is an emotive issue within the community, which was at one point ejected from their land without resettlement nor compensation.
Mwaka wa 60 ndio iliwekwa mpaka ya reserve, game reserve na national park. Sasa hapo wakati huo wale wazee walitolewa huko. Sehemu walikuwa wakiwinda, sehemu walikuwa wakipata mapato yao na kusaidia watu wao. Wakavutwa mpaka mahali saa hii tuko. Hiyo Tsavo si mbali vile. Ona ni kutoka hapa ni kilomita 10, unaanza Tsavo kule mbele.
Meanwhile, leaders in Embu County continue to condemn the demolitions by TADA that has rendered hundreds of residents homeless in Dunguni area of Makema Ward, Mbere South in Embu County. Manyata Member of Parliament John Mushiri is appealing to the government to consider a resettlement plan of the affected residents.
Yetu ni kuja kuangalia the situation, tuone vile serikali itafanya, kwa sababu hii si jambo mzuri watu wetu kuwa nahangaika kwa baridi saa hii. Kuna watoto wandogo, wengine ni wagonjwa, wanakohoa hapa kila. Kwa hivyo tutakuwa hapa mpaka wakati itakapo settle hao watu. They have to be settled. We cannot allow the government to displace its own people. Actually, even in the international court of law, leave alone even in the Kenyan court of law, it is very inhuman.
About 1,000 displaced persons are camping at the Dunguni Primary School and are decrying lack of basic commodities.
Nataka kukashifu kitendo ambacho TADA maafisa wa polisi walifanyia wakazi wa hapa, kuwachapa na kuwafurusha kwao bila sababu wa kitendo cha ni serikali ijue kwamba hawafai kuendeleza zoezi hilo la kufurusha watu na warudishe watu makwao, wape eneo na wape nafasi njema mahali wataweza kuishi kwa wale wakazi.
Sisi tumeshaadhiliwa sana kwa sababu soko yetu imembomolewa, nyumba zetu zimembomolewa. Kwa wale ambao hawajambomolewa nyumba, vyombo vyao wametoa nje, ni wakati wa mvua sikanyeshewa, sikaharibika sote. Kama mimi nimeadhiliwa sana. Nilikuwa na wiki 2 kusema ukweli hospitali. Mimi nakuanga na ugonjwa wa pressure. Sasa wakati nilikuja huku nikapatana na hii janga ya kufukuzwa, mimi nikafukuzwa. Ile siku tuliadhiliwa sana, tulikimbizwa na askari, mimi na watoto wangu wadogo.
For Channel 1 News, I'm Wamboi Otiende.
Kalenjin Council of Elders in Uasin Gishu County have dismissed the proposal by the government to create new divisions in the county, terming it illegal and in total disregard to the 2010 constitution. Led by Uasin Gishu Council of Elders Chair Alexander Morsi, the elders said there was no public participation on the matter, hence the decision to establish more administrative units is not valid.
The ongoing boundary review in Uasin Gishu County continued to elicit mixed reactions, with a section of elders from the Kalenjin community coming out to declare the newly created divisions null and void.
Despite the fact that we don't oppose the new divisions in our county because it brings service delivery closer to the people, what we are saying is those divisions that have been done is illegal.
Ile maneno ambayo ilifanyika juzi, watu wawili walienda ofisi hapo na wengine sijui Nairobi sijui wapi wakufanya hiyo maneno, tunakataa hiyo mpaka wakati ambaye sisi wote tutakutana.
Although the boundaries review exercise by the government will see the county get 3 new sub-counties, the Kalenjin Council of Elders in Uasin Gishu is concerned the government violated the constitution in carrying out the exercise without involving input from Uasin Gishu residents.
Public participation ingefaa kufanywa na inatakikana kufanywa ili watu wote washirikishwe. Tukienda kwa public participation, si kabila moja, kwa sababu itakuwa wengi tena, akina mama kwa vijana wataketi pamoja na kutoa maoni yao.
The elders now want the exercise stopped until different communities are consulted on the matter to avoid divisive politics that will create animosity within the county.
Kukosa adabu kwa viongozi ambao walikuja na kupitisha peke yao, ambao leo hii tumesimama na kukataa ya kwamba hata CS wetu asikie ya kwamba tumekataa kwa sababu tumekosewa.
Hakuna mtu nakataa maendeleo katika area yetu. Kwa hivyo ombi letu ni hiyo, simame kidogo, alafu tutakuja kurudi kuongea pamoja na wasee wote. Hawa ni wasee wa Kalenjin, lakini tunataka wasee wengine kutoka different communities tuelewane pamoja.
Ben Chumba reporting for Channel 1 News.
That story by Ben Chumba leads us to our first break. Stay with us. We'll be back with more.
Methali 6:20. Mwanangu, shika maagizo ya baba yako, wala usisahau mafundisho ya mama yako. Yaweke daima moyoni mwako, yafunge shingoni mwako. Yatakuongoza njiani mwako, yatakulinda wakati ulalapo, yatakushauri uwapo macho mchana. Maana amri hiyo ni taa na sheria hiyo ni mwanga. Aha.
Ili kupata skizo tune ya Methali 6:20, bonyeza *811 *817#. Bonyeza *811 *817#.
Tonight on KBC Channel 1.
That's unbelievable. I don't want to live here anymore. This doesn't feel like home. Oh my God. I'm going to leave. You leave? Where will you go? I'll go anywhere. And the amount you want me to deposit tomorrow?
I'm so sorry to disappoint you, madam, but your money's of no importance to me.
Are you telling me that you're going to refuse it? Lucretia might be the woman who shot Amaya. Really? She was at the building this morning, and she had a purse that looked just like the one I saw from the woman who came from Emma's building the day Amaya was shot.
Ilayska umada.
Welcome back. Now, a section of leaders in Trans Nzoia County have eulogized former Provincial Commissioner John Etemesi as a patriot, disciplinarian, and a leader who valued education and development. Etemesi, who died Monday, aged 90 years, was a powerful and renowned civil servant during former presidents Jomo Kenyatta, Daniel Moi, and Mwai Kibaki's regime in different ranks. His family said that burial arrangements are in top gear at his home in Sibaga area, Sitetunga Ward, Cherengani constituency. Security has been beefed at his home to ensure mourners follow COVID-19 protocols.
Hapa kwetu Sitatunga kutoa rambirambi zangu kwa niaba yangu, familia yangu na watu wa Sitatunga kwa kumpoteza rafiki yetu, rafiki yangu, baba yangu, mshauri wangu, senior PC John Etemesi. John Etemesi ni baadhi ya mapisi wa zamani wenye walikuwa bado wanaishi. Bia alikuwa ni mtu wa maendeleo, alipenda amani, alipenda Ukristo. Hata yeye ndiye alianzisha Sibanga SK Church, na akatoa shamba yake, akatoa shamba ya shule, na alikuwa ametoa miradi mingi, akasomesha watoto wengi wenye sisi tunajua sasa ni viongozi wakubwa katika hii area yetu.
Residents of Isiolo County are proposing presidential pardon for convicts of petty crimes and a no amnesty policy for those imprisoned for serious offences. In a meeting organized by the Power of Mercy Advisory Committee, the residents called for amendment of the current legislation so that inmates are able to raise penalties. Those suffering from terminal illnesses, pregnant women and mothers with children are freed.
Stakeholders comprising Isiolo Interfaith Organization, judiciary, county security teams, youth and women leaders took part in the public hearing on proposals to amend laws governing the pardoning of convicted petty crimes offenders. During the consultative forum, the public suggested that serious consideration should be made to the magnitude of the crimes committed before the offenders are pardoned. Chief Executive Officer of the Power of Mercy Advisory Committee, Dr. Lydia Muriuki, however, cautioned that those who have committed serious offenses like murder, defilement, terrorism, trafficking, narcotics, and economic crimes can only be eligible for pardon as advised by provisions in the Kenyan law.
We need to rethink the process of some crimes, like those that, much as you said, those that should be given mercy, those that are on cases of trafficking, the narcotics, those that are on terrorism-related cases, those that are on economic crimes. We are being guided in all the counties that we've been, that we should rethink even as we process their request for pardon.
Dr. Muriuki assured members of the public that the task force will objectively consider and evaluate all the views presented and incorporate recommendations into the draft policy for amending the relevant law.
There are legislations that are related to Article 133 that are going to be repealed or amended, or even new legislation will be introduced. The second one is that we shall come up with a policy framework on what is mercy or what is pardon or what is clemency in the Kenya context.
Isiolo Interfaith Network Leaders Chairman Sheikh Ahmed Set and Secretary Bishop Stephen Kalunyo called on communities to help pardon offenders integrate into society with ease.
Wananchi wahamasishwe ili wawakubali wale ambao wamefanya makosa na wamerekebika na wametubu na wameweza kurudi nyumbani, na vile vile serikali kuweza kutoa rasilimali kwa wale ambao wanatoka jela ili waanze maisha yao mpya.
Public participation on proposals to review laws enshrined in Article 133 of the Constitution on the exercise of power of mercy by the President have already been conducted in 15 counties so far.
Vihiga Governor Dr. Wilbur Otichilo is cautioning residents against defying the Ministry of Health COVID-19 prevention guidelines. Otichilo says his administration is working closely with law enforcers to ensure health protocols put in place to curb the spread of the novel coronavirus are not flouted. He said the Vihiga County Emergency Response Committee will continue sensitization campaigns aimed at enlightening the residents about the contagious virus that is disrupting lives globally. Otichilo was speaking at Vihiga County Referral Hospital in Mbale, where he received a donation of personal protective equipment from Rural Outreach Africa.
Mtu akikufa baada masaa 72 lazima awe buried, na ni wale tu familia wa karibu ndio wanakubaliwa kuwa kwa hiyo matanga, sio watu vikundi kubwa. So naomba watu wangu wa Vihiga County muzingatie hayo, na sheria vile iko, wale ambao hawatazingatia Unfortunately, mkono wa sheria utachukua hatua.
Nairobi County Commissioner Flora Mwaroa says the government has embarked on an initiative to ensure that 13,529 Huduma number cards which have been lying at the local registration of persons offices are given to the owners within 10 days. Elsewhere in Mandera County, more than 500 families from Kerobi and Arilei Neboi locations face eviction after the county government marked the piece of land for the construction of Islamic Public University. For this and more stories making headlines in the county briefs today.
Speaking at Starehe Sub-County headquarters, Moroa said they'll incorporate local political leaders to ensure residents of Nairobi area collected their Huduma number cards. Only 3,231 Huduma number cards have been collected in Starehe Sub-County.
We have laid strategies on how to encourage our people to come. You see, like trying to really explain to them that this message that they are receiving from Huduma is not fake, so that they can be able to come and receive their cards. So strategies are ongoing in every sub-county.
Elsewhere in Mandera County, residents of Maikorebi and Arilei Neboi location are accusing the Mandera County government of attempting to force them out of their lands, which they are claiming of staying more than 30 years. The county plans to construct Islamic Public University from the said piece of land.
Wanasumba sisi kila asubuhi watu wanakuja kusumbua kwa plate yote na nimeambia tunahamisha hawa. Na sisi tunakataa kwa sababu 1961 mpaka leo ndo sisi tunaishi hapa, baba yetu ndo ametusalimu, msichana wetu ndo amesaliwa hapa, msichana amesaliwa hapa ndo wamesasa mpaka sasa wameacha kusaa.
In West Pokot County, a major key road linking the area with Uganda has been opened.
Wakati sasa wananchi wanapata stima, mtu hata anatenga soko kidogo, hata nyumba yake anaweka, ana shamba yake anaweka kwa soko. Sasa unajua this is part of development ambayo inaingia. Kwa hivyo nataka niambie tu watu wakaji wote wakapenguri, kwa sababu hii si barabara peke yake. Hii kongine ilitoka nini ya Kishaule ikapita na Teleng mpaka inashika Serao huko chini.
And in Meru County, local artists are said to benefit from Meru Project Fame, an initiative meant to nurture and empower local artists from the area. In Kiambu County, hundreds of small-scale traders are all smiles after the devolved unit waived all taxes on their operations to cushion them against the vagaries of COVID-19.
Katika Mwariro tunalipa shilingi 20 na hawa hizo ada zote ametuondolea. Sasa tunamshukuru sana kwa sababu hiyo pesa wakati huo Wanjiku wa kawaida ameondolewa hizo senti. Sasa hizo senti zinamsaidia sana. Kuna mambo mingi na mambo kama sasa tuko na challenges za COVID-19.
Meanwhile, in Turkana County, 7 people, among them 2 German nationals, were arraigned in court for not putting on masks. The 7 were arrested during a police operation along the Lodwar-Kakuma road.
Ours is that if we get you without the face mask, we just make arrangement how you are going to get it. We shall make sure that the enforcement will continue all the time, and the above all is for our people. Everybody included to know that the safety does not mean that the safety is for us all. So I wish to thank you, members of the public, the media people, for enlightening what we are doing. We shall make sure that we continue until this killer disease is eliminated.
And in Machakos County, Mavoko Member of Parliament Patrick Makau has launched a blood donation drive that incorporates Boda Boda Association, Kenya National Blood Transfusion Service, and local community-based organizations.
MOH kana kwamba kumekuwa na upungufu wa damu, na tukaona ni vizuri Kenya Red Cross tukishirikiana na National Blood Transfusion Center tuweze kuungana pamoja, tuimize watu waweze kujitokeza kwa wingi, tuweze kupata damu ya kusaidia wale wetu ambao wanahitaji damu.
Over 15,000 residents of Jomvu constituency are set to benefit from the Miroroni water pipeline project, which is at its final stage. The initiative, funded by the Norwegian Red Cross, will provide clean water for domestic use with a pipeline of up to 6 kilometers.
Residents of Jomvu have a reason to smile as the Mreroni water pipeline project nears completion. The project, which cost 6 million shillings, will first cover 3 areas within the constituency, which are Mreroni, Mbuyu Wachapa and Gotani. Speaking during a site visit, Area Member of Parliament Wadi Talib said the project will help solve the perennial water problems in many parts of the county.
Nataka kuambia watu wangu wa Jomvu, shida ya maji ni donda sugu ambalo linaendelea siku zote. Lakini kwa hivi sasa tunataka tuseme tumelivalia njuga kando na kuona vitengo vinavyohusika na mambo haya ya maji kwa wataweza kutufikishia maji, hata vitengo vingine vya kama Red Cross ambao hawa ni watu wa kuweza kutoa huduma kwa wananchi. Pia tumeweza kuwa-engage na kuweza kuona kuwa miradi kama hii imeweza kuja.
Meanwhile, residents of Losuk village in Samburu County are facing acute water shortage for more than 3 months now after 3 boreholes in the region broke down. According to the residents, they are now forced to walk for more than 10 kilometers to get the precious commodity.
Na hii borehole iko na wakati iko na maka mingi sana kutoka itengenezwe, na saa hii watu wako na shida ya maji, na ile shida ambayo ilitokea mota iliungua chini ya ardhi. Sasa naomba serikali wenye kuhusika kama ni county government kwa hisani yao watunulie mota wakuje kutuwekea mota kwa borehole.
The residents are now calling on the government to enhance production capacity of the borehole from 2,000 litres storage tank to 10,000 litres due to increased demand for water.
More than 1,000 traders in Logorian, Narok County, are set to benefit from a multi-million market to be completed in 15 months' time. The county government of Narok says the project will ease operations of traders in Logorian who are far from Kilgoris market. The Kanan Logorian market will be the second largest in the county after the Kilgoris market. Narok County government is constructing a new market at Kanan, Logorian, aimed at easing operations for more than 1,000 traders from Logorian area. Currently, traders operate from Kilgoris market, the largest in the area and which is miles away from Logorian. Narok CEC for Lands and Planning, Vivian Sereti, says the multi-million shillings market will be complete by mid-2022.
Kuwa na watu zaidi ama watu zaidi ya 200 wataweza kufanya biashara, na hao ni wale ambao watakuwa kwa ile shade, na pia tuko na bigger ground ya kufanya open air market.
New dispensation within the people of Logoria. So it is actually their major time, it's actually their best opportunity for them to embrace. And not only Logorian, it's going to open for people coming from Kilgoris, from Kawai, and within the environs of Logoria.
Meanwhile, several residents in Isinya town are poised to reap economic benefits from a feeder tarmac road cutting across the town. Thanks to the county government, the road will stretch from Isinya town, Majengo multipurpose hall before joining the Nairobi Namanga highway.
Barabara tusaidia kitu ya kwanza ambayo kunyeza gari haipitiki. Cha pili sasa vile wanafanya hivyo. Hii barabara watafanya kitamana. Pikipiki wamama hata kwenda soko itakuwa njia rahisi sana.
The project, scheduled for 8 months period, would also decongest traffic at the Isinya Weighbridge. And a section of residents in Katani, Machakos County are up in arms over a subcontractor who has constructed the Katani-Machakos road below the required standards. They say a China construction company subcontracted the said company, but it has failed on its mandate. They now want the said contract withdrawn and issued to a competent company for speedy development in Katani area.
Tunaomba kama huyu contractor hawezi, serikali tusaidie tupatie mwingine. Sababu huyu mkijaribu kuangalia mtaona hakuna kazi anafanya. Anatufungia barabara na hakuna matrakta kwa barabara. Pengine hana uwezo wa kutengeneza barabara. Tunataka barabara itengenezwe ndio sisi pia tufurahie kama wananchi wengine wa Kenya.
Kisii County government has moved to offer fish fingerlings at a subsidized price in a bid to encourage more residents to embrace fish farming in the area. Speaking at Agricultural Training College, ATC, in the outskirts of Kisii Town, Kisii County Governor James Ongwae said the initiative was attainable following the construction of fish multiplication and demonstration centers at Ogembo and Bomorenda. Speaking at Aquaculture Business Development Program ABDP, Ongwae said the number of fish ponds in the county currently stood at more than 300. Kisii County is one of the 15 counties chosen to implement Aquaculture Business Development Program, which is sponsored by the International Fund for Agricultural Development, IFAD, and co-funded by national and county governments at a tune of 14.9 billion shillings.
We really do want fishing to take root, because as a county government with a population, a growing population of over 1.3 million on 1,333 square kilometer of land, any businesses that are involved in fish multiplication and production is good for business, especially for the small farmers, but not only as a business, but also as a food production initiative and also as a health initiative for this county.
Now, the Kenya Private Schools Association has claimed that the results of the 2020 Kenya Certificate of Primary Education was tilted to favor public schools. The Kirinyaga branch officials claim private school investors had struggled to complement government provision of education only to be discriminated in marking of the national examinations.
Speaking in Kerugoya Town, Kenya Private Schools Association branch chairman David Karithi said that lack of engagement of private practitioners in policy formulation had contributed largely to doctoring of examinations.
If we are members of the board of Kenya National Examination Council, if our teachers have been involved in setting and marking, we could be talking a different language, because it is like we could be speaking from reality. But now we are not able to speak about it.
Karithi queried the government's hurry to have the examination results released shortly after it was completed. Former KEPSA chairman John Kabui said that despite private schools having 5 best candidates, the standardization process of moderation tools that were applied for KCPE 2020 greatly disadvantaged candidates who sat for the exams in private centers.
Are we telling them there are other factors that are used to give a child or a student marks apart from the answers he has given in the answer script?
At the same time, members of the Private Schools Owners Association from Thika, Kiambu County are appealing to the government to ensure fairness in the forthcoming Form 1 selections.
What criteria was used? Who was consulted? We want to say, as private schools, we were not involved in what they called standardization, in what they called moderation, and that one affected the performance of the children.
Elsewhere, Kenya National Union of Teachers officials
Glad you are watching Channel 1 Lunchtime News. We are also live on our Facebook, Twitter and YouTube platforms, and we do appreciate your feedback. Many of you are watching from here in the home country and across the globe, and you say you are following keenly the proceedings in Parliament, and I would say we will be transmitting from Parliament and Senate this afternoon when need arises. And also we have news in the business world as well as sports. We're taking a short break. We'll be back with more.
Beauty College. Vera Beauty and Fashion College, with branches in Nairobi, Eldoret, Thika, and Meru. Did you know that we are a TVET-approved institution? We offer courses in fashion design, interior design and soft furnishing, event decoration, flower arrangement, event planning, hairdressing, barbering and dreadlocks, beauty therapy, makeup, nail technology, spa massages, teaching skills, TOT, solo business management, and many more. Register now and visit our website on www.verabeautycollege.com. You can also call on 0725-923-550 Nairobi branch, 0728-087-689 Eldoret branch, 0722-227428 Thika branch, 0725-000-706 Meru branch. Vera Beauty and Fashion College, a TVET-approved institution.
Tonight on KBC Channel 1.
And if it bursting by, why? Just because I took this decision myself? Lie! It's a lie, father! It is a blatant lie! Just don't want to see the problem. You have become so egoistic that you just do not want to accept your mistake. You don't even want to look back and see what you have done.
Emperor, you're not trying to understand me.
Magad's emperor is talking to Magad's crown prince. Relax, he'll be the crown prince. Anything happen? I said it back then and I'm saying it now.
Thank you for staying with us. Welcome back. Local leaders and residents living along the Sotik-Borabu border are lauding the national government for enforcing stringent measures that has seen cases of cattle rustling reduce drastically. According to the residents, an average of 8 cattle were being stolen daily before security agents moved in to contain the situation. They say increased surveillance in the area through regular patrols and crackdowns has resulted in significant reduction of crimes.
Ng'ombe kwa mwezi zilikuwa zinaibiwa ng'ombe 80, ng'ombe 100 kwa mwezi moja. Na kwa siku ng'ombe zilikuwa zinaibiwa ng'ombe 7, ng'ombe 8 baadaye. So wakati aliingia hii maneno ya interior, waziri wetu akajiunga kabisa na community. Alafu akaanza kufanya mikutano na community policing, madisi wakifanya community policing, mikutano na machiefs, na assistant chiefs, na yeye akatuma kikosi kutoka Nairobi. Ilikuja hapa ikafanya operation. Hiyo operation waizi wote walitoroka. Kwa hivyo siku hizi watu hapa tunalala.
Uishi meisa na wale wezi ambao walikuwa naiva ng'ombe siku hizi wametorokea mahali kwingine. Kwa hivyo nataka kushukuru serikali, nataka kushukuru Mheshimiwa Bwana Matiang'i ambaye ni waziri wetu, ambaye ni ndugu yetu hapa, kwamba amepunguza uizi wa ng'ombe kwa kiwango kikubwa.
Police in Kisumu are investigating the murder of a private security guard whose body was discovered lying in a pool of blood at Menyata Estate at nearby business premises that he was guarding. His colleague, who was also attacked, is battling for his life at Jaramogi Oginga Odinga Referral Hospital.
Residents of Githima village of Gatwanyaga ward in Thika, Kiambu County are living in fear of a marauding criminal gang. The gang, armed with knives and other crude weapons, is said to have been prowling the village during the night and pointlessly stabbing and injuring locals.
Huyu mama aliweza kuvamiwa akiingia kwenye boma lake, na wale waliomvamia hakumuibia chochote. Alijaribu kuwapa pesa wakakataa.
And residents of Musaga Navakolo constituency in Kakamega County are still in shock after a swarm of bees attacked and killed an 80-year-old woman. According to family members, the elderly woman was working in her shamba when the incident occurred.
Tumeshangaa sana vile nyuki ilipika mama. Tunasikianga tu kwa mbali, leo tumepata iko hapa, imepatikana hapa. Kila mtu wako na wasiwasi kwa hii ukoa. Hii nyuki kumbe inaweza ua.
Mama alikuwa shambani na mahali alikuwa anapalilia mahindi, kuna mti muembe na nyuki zilikuwa juu. Kwa hiyo hizo nyuki zikamwangukia, zilianza kuanguka chini. So wakati zilianguka chini, yeye alikuwa hapo chini akipalilia, na wakati zilimwangukia zikaanza watoto walikuwa karibu pia, wao wakakimbia, lakini mama naye akalemewa.
Time for Channel 1 business news. And 22 lorries trying to snake maize into Kenya illegally from Uganda have been nabbed. Some of the lorries which snaked into the country through non-gazetted border points in West Pokot County were impounded while offloading the maize. However, traders in the area claimed the arrests would create a maize shortage, pushing up prices.
In less than a month, the government has impounded 61 lorries ferrying maize illegally imported from Uganda. This is after the government intensified a crackdown on illegal maize importation on food safety concerns. The latest incidents involve impounding of 22 trucks carrying maize from Uganda that have been impounded in West Pokot, bringing in the farm produce through non-gazetted border entry point.
Ile mahindi inatoka Uganda, tunashuku iko na aflatoxin na ni tisho kwa maisha ya wananchi wa Kenya. Na sasa tumeshika magari 22 siku ya leo ambaye tutafuta mpaka kwa police station kwa sababu madereva yao wameweza kutoroka.
Some of the vehicles were nabbed as they offloaded the illegal maize consignment, while others were still on transit.
Ambaye anataka kufanya biashara, iwe ni biashara aina yoyote kutoka nchi jirani, tunafahamisha hawa ya kwamba lazima wapite katika custom ya SWAM.
However, traders claim the maize had been procured within West Pokot County, adding that such arrests could fuel maize shortage that would push up the price of the farm produce in coming weeks.
Kenya bado ni nchi inatawaliwa na sheria, na Uganda pia inatawaliwa na sheria. Mahindi imepitaje kwa mpaka, na kutoka hapa mpaka kutoka town hapa mpaka ni zaidi ya kilomita 270. Inakuwaje mahindi yenye iko town inakamatwa na kusema ya kwamba yote ni ya Uganda?
The heightened crackdown on illegal maize was instigated by the government after maize import from the neighboring countries were found to be having high levels of aflatoxin contamination. Benson Rioba reporting for Channel 1 Business.
The Australian Competition and Consumer Commission says measures are needed to address Apple and Google's App Store dominance. The Commission's chairman says Apple and Google do not only run the app marketplaces, they also compete within them with their own apps. This is the latest move by Australia to rein in big tech's market power. Here are the details of this and other stories making headlines across the globe.
The global dominance of Apple's App Store and Google Play Store has been criticized by app makers for mandatory revenue sharing payments. The competition watchdog recommended allowing users to remove and replace Apple and Google pre-installed apps from their phones. Earlier this month, Google and Apple were accused by other companies of restricting access to app developers and charging commissions as high as 30% for paid downloads. The latest push to scrutinize apps comes from several months after Australia became the first country in the world to pass a law aimed at making Google and Facebook pay for news content in their platforms. Meanwhile, the family of Samsung Electronics chairman Lee Kun-hee will pay more than $10.78 billion inheritance taxes on his estates. South Korea has one of the highest inheritance tax rates. However, shares of Samsung various listed divisions were mixed on the news, which provided little clarity about whether or not any shares will be sold. Lee's collection of antiques and paintings will be donated to the National Museum of Korea and other cultural organizations. Media reports say the donation will reduce the family tax liability at 50%. Korea's inheritance tax rate is the world's second highest after Japan. A premium can be added to share if the deceased has a controlling interest in a company, potentially taking the top rate even higher. Finally, Google owner Alphabet saw its earnings soar in the first quarter as people stuck at home in the pandemic used more of its services. Net profit jumped by 162% to a record $17.9 billion in the 3 months to March as advertising revenues swelled by a third. It comes as the tech giant faces increased scrutiny over its power, and the pandemic has had people turning to the internet more than ever. The firm credited elevated consumer activity online for its results. Reflecting this revenue at Google's search business jumped by 30% to $31.9 billion in the quarter, while sales at YouTube leapt 49% to $6 billion. Terry Njenga, Channel 1 Business.
Well, the swearing in of judges is underway at the Supreme Court, and we will be getting that feed. But first, let's move to news making headlines in the world of sports. Kenya Volleyball Federation, KVF, has dropped 4 players out of the Malkia Strikers squad that has been in residential training camp at Kasarani ahead of the next phase of training and competition that will be held in Brazil. This is in preparation for this year's Tokyo Olympic Games. The players who have been named in traveling squad will leave the country this Friday for a 45-day training camp.
20 national women volleyball team players have been in training camp at Kasarani under the tutelage of head coach Paul Bitok and a team of Brazilian coaches seconded to them by the International Federation of Volleyball, FIVB. Out of the 20 players, 16 will travel to Brazil this Friday after 4 of the players were dropped from the traveling squad. The 4 include Joanne Telagat, Josephine Wafula, Jemima Siangu, and Caroline Sirengo. Experienced Kenyan international setter Jane Washu, Joel Lusenaka, and Immaculate Nekesa make up the team of setters, while liberos in the team include Elizabeth Nafula and Agrippina Kundu. Masi Moim, Noel Murambi, Leonida Kasaya, and Pamela Jepkirui make up the left attackers team, while middle blockers include Edith Mukuvilani, Violet Makuto, Gladys Ekaru, and Lauren Chebet. Malkia Strikers will be making a return to the Olympic Games after last featuring in 2004. Frederick Mwoki for Channel 1 Sports.
We are taking a break from the sports news. This as we move to the Supreme Court, where we earlier mentioned there is a swearing-in exercise, not for the judges, but for the selection panel of IEBC. And my colleague Sleiman Yeri is on the ground. Let's listen in at the events at the Supreme Court.
So help me God.
Just take this and sign over here.